Fusion. Welcome to January's broadcast. On today's broadcast, we're going to go through the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act. It's been extended. I'm going to give you all of the details. We're going to go through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the HAFA program. Has it expired? We're going to clear up the confusion. There's a lot of misinformation in the marketplace. And we're going to talk to two amazing CDPs, Jim and Stacy Lambright. Not just an awesome couple, inspiring. They're going to talk live with me on this broadcast about the success they're finding in their market, in the Ohio market. Fantastic people. You're going to love hearing from them. Just their enthusiasm is going to get you excited about doing short sales. In case you missed it, the Bank of America broadcast was one of my favorite parts of our broadcast. In every broadcast, success shared. There's a reason why I love this segment so much, because CDPEs are not just a bunch of agents who took a class. CDPEs are a national membership, a national movement for change. And one of the most amazing ways that you all help each other is by sharing your success, sharing best practices, and letting people around the country know what's working. Well, this month's Success Shared is absolutely no different than any other month. They're outstanding, amazing agents who are here to share with you. So let's take a look real quick. We'll go to Find a CDPE on CDPE.com. Click on Find a CDPE, and we're going to search for the Lambrights. And we go right into their page here. And as you can see, filled out very well. We'll do some cyber stalking here. We're going to zoom in on New Albany, Ohio. They actually cover the Columbus market. They've been working together in real estate. Jim and Stacy have been working together in real estate since 1997. And they do a ton of short sales. In fact, they started a lot sooner than a lot of people in this industry. And a lot of people started doing short sales. Let's go ahead and find out exactly when. So Jim, Stacy, when did you take your first short sale? I was surprised by this answer when I saw it.
You know, our first one was actually in 2006.
So that was way before the rest of the market, Stacy. Tell me what was the circumstances. That's by the way, coincidentally, when my wife Katie took her first short sale. But back then, there was no such thing as a loss mitigation department.
It was. You know, we actually were new build reps prior to this. So when we first got into real estate, a lot of our clients were our past new build clients. So in 2006, we had one guy in particular that, you know, his wife had left him. He had a child, and he, you know, we tried for 6 months to sell the home traditionally, you know, just out of pure desperation, I picked up, you know, he was starting to rob Peter to pay Paul. We were checking in on him every day, and then I finally, I gave a call to the bank out of pure desperation, and just to ask them, you know, is there any way he can take a side note? Is there anything that we can do? And that bank actually said, what about a short sale? And I was like, what the heck is a short sale?
Right, and so it was 2006. Banks didn't even know what was going on. How big was the lender in that case?
That lender was actually was not in business anymore. It was Countrywide back then, and they brought it up to us, and we went and talked to our broker and other agents in the office, and they're like, there's no such thing as a short sale. What are they even talking about?
So what ended up happening? Did it finally go through?
It did. It was very, as you can imagine, the first short sale, and it wasn't even a common household name at that point. There was a lot of bumps and bruises, and it took us about a year, but we finally got it done.
It was very obvious Countrywide did not want that house back, and they wanted to find a way to sell it. And one of the challenges we had back then, too, was there was no when on the forgiveness of debt, you know, they still had a tax liability on it. So we actually had to work directly with his accountant to prove insolvency with the IRS, so he didn't have a huge tax liability, because his attorneys were just telling him to file bankruptcy and foreclose the property.
Right. He didn't even have to do that.
No.
He did not have to do it, but that's what the attorneys were saying. They were like, don't do a short sale, foreclose it, and do Chapter 7.
I want the whole country to hear what you just said, because really, the challenges you had in 2006 are the same challenges we have today. Same thing, proving insolvency. Same thing with attorneys telling people just to go bankrupt. Things have barely changed. So one of the things that I know you really focus on is making sure that your clients do not end up with a deficiency judgment. So tell me a little bit about how exactly do you do that?
You know, it's amazing to me, Alex, that the agents that are new to the game that are out there that just think the job is just putting a sign in the yard, listing on MLS, getting an offer, putting the package together, and then sending it to the bank. That is only 5% of the job. I think really what we are getting paid for is to make sure that we get that deficiency judgment waived at the end. I mean, banks know we have a huge payday coming, and so they're trying us on at the end. They're they're trying to see if your client will take on some of the debt, and they also sometimes, even want to cut into your commission. And we stand firm. We hold the deal up and basically kind of have a standoff with the bank. If you need to foreclose on the deal, you need to foreclose. You have to stand firm with the banks. They don't want them back, but they'll posture that they do.
Jim, I wish more agents had, I think what you said at the beginning of that answer was most important, is that taking the listing, throwing the package together, throwing it into the bank, sending it in through whatever means necessary, that's 5% of the work. The work really starts right there. It's keeping the deal together, talking to the buyer's agent, talking to the buyer if you're working with them, talking to your seller, making sure they stay in the game, negotiating every little bit of that short sale, and really understanding what is a win for the bank because they're not going to have to foreclose on a property, but also what's a win for your client and moving them forward.
It's sad because we have such a good reputation in our market for doing short sales that sometimes some of the calls that we get are after another agent has completed a short sale, and we get a call from a seller or a seller's friends that all of a sudden they have this huge deficiency balance. The bigger banks have made it so easy to complete a short sale, and a lot of novice agents think that that getting the okay to complete the short sale and close on the home automatically releases the seller from the deficiency balance, and it doesn't.
They forget that all-important letter at the end with the waiver, and that is the most important job.
Yeah, no question. No question. So you had mentioned that you had one short sale that was really gratifying. It was memorable. I love hearing the success stories. Tell us about it.
We've got a gentleman this one was memorable. It took us 2.5 years to do a deal. He was an elderly gentleman. His wife had dementia, and he wanted to stay in the house as long as he possibly could. And he was an attorney, and so he was using the system, making the bank come up with the original note and things like that. But it took us 2.5 years. He had 7 liens on that property. We had to negotiate with every single one of those liens, a partial lien release to get this thing done. The bank here was a local bank in Columbus. They did not want the property back, but he owed $460, right, babe, on that property, and we ended up selling it for $330, and it worked out. He was able to keep his wife in there and keep a lot of their memories that they had. It was great, and he really appreciated it. It would have ruined his entire retirement if we hadn't got that short sale done.
We actually had a gentleman that was deployed in Iraq. And he started the process while he was over there, and it made it all the more challenging, obviously, with everything that's needed from his side. But while he was gone, the property got broken into, copper pipe stolen, all that fun stuff. And but that one was extremely challenging to get it to the closing table. But we got that one finished, and that's that was one of my favorites.
It's amazing. You walk in with one person, you walk out with another. Anybody who's closing a short sale or has closed a short sale knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask everybody during Success Shared. One piece of advice for the agent who just got their CDPE. They're just getting started. What's the most important thing they need to do?
One thing they need to do is they have to stay plugged in. Short sales are always changing. I tell everybody, you can't just take a checkbox and go items 1, 2, 3, and your short sale is going to get approved. They're changing all the time, and we learn every single time new techniques for negotiating the sales, as well as things that are working and old things that don't work anymore. You've got to stay plugged in. If you think you just learn it real quick one time with the course and you're done, you're highly mistaken, my friend.
Yeah, there's no question. If anything has become a constant these days in real estate, it's change. Sometimes the change happens faster than others, and I think we've had a 4-year period where we probably had 2 decades worth of change compressed into a very short period of time. The agents they're doing well, the ones like you that are staying on top of their game. I want to thank you both, Jim, Stacy. Thanks so much for being part of our broadcast.
Alex, thanks for the course. We appreciate it. Thanks.
My pleasure. I want to thank Jim and Stacy again. What a fantastic couple. Awesome CDPs, and really, they set the standard, the example for what exactly we want CDPs to think. You go and you do everything you can for your clients, and you're going to have success just like they have. If you want more information on Jim and Stacy and their business, go to lambrightteam.com. And if you have referrals in the Columbus, Ohio, Albany, Ohio area, that's the go-to people I would call. Let's go ahead and remember, if you want to be featured on one of our broadcasts, go to stories@charfen.com. Stories@charfen.com. We'll put you on a broadcast just like we did with Jim and and Stacy. On today's broadcast, quick recap of what we covered. We discussed the extension of the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act. A lot of people prayed for that. It finally came true. Our strategy session, we outlined the new guidelines for completing Fannie and Freddie short sales. And Jim and Stacy Lambright, thanks so much for being on the call. I really appreciate your time. You took time out of your busy day, time away from your businesses to share with our members nationwide. We really, really do appreciate it.